Hey Dawson, how much do you know about Shakespeare?
So, what was he on a scale of 1 to 10?
Come on, you know better than that.
Is he on Insty?
Dawson.
At least Facebook. I mean, I don't check that all the time, but still.
Sorry, it looks like once you're single, you'll never get to mingle.
Oh, darn.
Perhaps one of the greatest playwrights of all time, William Shakespeare was born on April 26, 1564, in Stratford upon Avon, approximately 100 miles northwest of London. April 26, however, may not be his exact birth date, because records from that time were often lost or never made in the first place. William Shakespeare's father, John, began his work as a leather worker. However, he worked his way up into becoming the town bailiff. William attended Stratford's grammar school. This school placed an emphasis on Latin. A few years after leaving school, at the age of 18, William Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway. When they were married, however, they were already expecting their first child, who they named Susanna. After their child Susanna, in early 1585, the couple had twins, Judith and Hamnet. Although it is not known exactly when Shakespeare began his acting and playwright career, the first piece of evidence of Shakespeare's works was a written piece from Henry VI from 1592. Over the next 2 decades, Shakespeare took on his role for the Lord Chamberlain's Men, which was later the King's Men. He also wrote his 37 plays to be performed at the Globe Theatre on the south bank of the River Thames. With the wealth he gained from his work with the Chamberlain's Men, along with his writing, he purchased his second largest house in Stratford. Shakespeare died on his birthday in 1616.
Now, here are some fun facts about Shakespeare. There are more than 80 variations recorded of Shakespeare's name, but for some strange reason, none of them actually spell out William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare, although not spelled that way apparently, also was known for wearing a gold hoop earring, which was apparently fashionable among the wealthy men at his time. Many of Shakespeare's contemporaries really did not like him, and one of them, named Robert Greene, said that he was an upstart crow, beautified with our feathers. So apparently it looks like the savagery was also in existence in the 1600s and the 1500s. Shakespeare was also known for using over 7,000 different words in all of his plays combined, and he has been credited with creating over 3,000 words for the English language. It is thought that his vocabulary had anywhere between 17,000 and 29,000 words, more than double that of your average speaking person. 2 of Shakespeare's plays, Hamlet and Much Ado About Nothing, have been translated into Klingon, the language used by the Klingons of Star Trek. Today on the Dr. Ramanathan Show, we are going to the household of Leonardo, a man who lives in Messina on the island of Sicily. Here, we've got some double trouble with love. On one side, we've got some mischief that is not being managed by Don Pedro's brother, Don John, who's trying to screw around with the romance between Claudio and Leonardo. However, on the other side, which we'll be showing directly from the household, there is some nasty banter between Benedict, the great war hero, and Beatrice, the niece of Leonardo. However, what they don't know is that there's some nasty scheming going on from the other members of the family to make these two fall in love, even though they believe that they will never fall in love with anyone. So anyway, without further ado, here's a sampling from some of the banter between the two in Leonardo's household. Good Signor Leonato, are you come to meet your trouble? The fashion of the world is to avoid cost, and you encounter it.
Never came trouble to my house in the likeness of your grace. For trouble being gone, comfort should remain. But when you depart from me, sorrow abides and happiness takes his leave.
You embrace your change too willingly. I think this is your daughter.
Her mother hath many times told me so.
Were you in doubt, sir, that you asked her?
Signor Benedict, no, for then were you a child.
You have it full, Benedict. We may guess by this what you are, being a man. Truly the lady fathers herself. Be happy, lady, for you are like an honorable father. If Signor Leonato be her father, she would not have his head on her shoulders for all Messina, as like him as she is.
I wonder if you will still be talking, Signor Benedict. Nobody marks you.
What? My dear Lady Disdain, are you yet living?
Is it possible Disdain should die while she hath such meet food to feed it as Signor Benedict? Courtesy itself must convert to disdain if you should come in her presence.
Then is courtesy a turncoat? But it is certain I am loved of all ladies, only you excepted. And I would I could find that I had not a hard heart, for truly I love none.
A dear happiness to women. They would else have been troubled with a pernicious suitor. I thank God in my cold blood I am of your humor for that. I had rather hear my dog bark at a crow than a man swear he loves me.
God keep your ladyship still in that mind, so some gentleman or other shall escape a predestinate scratched face.
Scratching could not make it and worse, and 'twere such a face as yours were.
Well, you are a rare parrot teacher.
A bird of my tongue is much better than a beast of yours.
I would my horse had the speed of your tongue, and so good a continuer. But keep your way in God's name. I have done.
You always end with a jade's trick. I know you of old.
After the verbal confrontation between Benedict and Beatrice, Claudio informs Benedict that he has fallen in love with Hero. Benedict then shares to Don Pedro that Claudio is in love with Hero. Don Pedro intends to help Claudio out by acting as him as at the masquerade ball. This conversation is overheard, but overheard incorrectly, where Leonato's servant thinks that Don Pedro is actually attempting to marry Hero. At the masquerade ball, Don Pedro reveals to Hero that Claudio loves her. Don John, Don Pedro's illegitimate brother, attempts to ruin the marriage by actually telling Claudio that Don Pedro intends to marry Hero. Subsequently, Claudio attempts to forget his love for Hero. Later, Leonato, Don Pedro, and Claudio all want Benedict and Beatrice to actually declare their love for each other so they can have a loud, secret conversation so Benedict can hear what they say. Claudio speaks of how Beatrice actually loves Benedict. Hero basically plays the same trick on Beatrice. Later that night, Don John plans to ruin Hero and Claudio's relationship the night before the wedding. Don John tells Claudio that Hero is unfaithful and tells him he has proof. Don John takes Claudio to Hero's balcony, and he sees two figures making love behind the curtain. Behind the curtain, however, are two servants that Don John employed to trick Claudio. Claudio believes the trick and plans to shame Hero at the wedding day. During the wedding, Claudio calls Hero disloyal in front of everyone. Hero denies this, but everyone reaffirms what Claudio saw, and Hero faints. Beatrice realizes that Hero will not cheat Claudio, and plans to tell everyone that Hero died so they will all pity her somewhat. Benedict then proclaims his love for Beatrice. However, she states that she will not accept it unless Benedict duels Claudio to pay for Hero's death. Before the duel occurs, Hero's name is cleared as everyone finds out what actually happened. Hero is revealed to be alive, and both Hero and Claudio and Beatrice and Benedict are married in the end.
Now there are many themes in this great play, but today we will be discussing only 4 of them: pride, marriage, lies and deceit, and love. Marriage is the main cause of trouble throughout this play, from Don John trying to rip apart Claudio and Hero's marriage to everyone trying to make Benedict and Beatrice fall in love with each other. Marriage also seems to be seen as sort of necessary amongst the characters, and even with Beatrice and Benedict, they are eventually forced to believe that marriage is necessary for both of them. However, despite everyone thinking that it is needed, marriage is also the theme of many of the jokes in the play, especially from Benedict. Another common theme throughout the play is that of love. The main message coming from the play about love is that it is complex. There are always many factors playing into whether couples get married, especially Beatrice and Benedict, as they see their marriage not primarily as being for love, but for necessity. The only character who truly seeks out love in the play is Claudio, and even he is tripped up in his path toward love by the always scheming Don John. The general message about love from this play is that it is always more complicated than what it may seem like at the surface, and that there are many circumstances that play into love starting, continuing, and stopping.
Another common theme in Much Ado About Nothing is the concept of lies and deceit. Don John is the primary user of deception when he sets up the servants to trick Claudio into believing that Harrow has slept with another man. His main goal for this is the ending of the relationship between Claudio and Harrow. Another slightly less dim example of deception is Beatrice and Benedict attempting to deceive each other into believing that they do not love each other. However, in the end, both lies are revealed to everyone to be false. The final common theme we will discuss is pride. The scene in where pride is illustrated the most in Much Ado About Nothing is the final scene, where right before Claudio marries Harrow, he speaks about Harrow cheating on him. Claudio uses this as a form of public shaming. This was so serious an offense at the time that Leonato, Harrow's father, wants her to be killed.
Much Ado About Nothing has been reviewed by The Guardian, based in London, England. Much Ado depicts a world in which marriage is fragile, arbitrary, and potentially traumatic, and in which people are not so much free agents as the prisoners of their own self-images, and of each other's unreliable opinions. One example of this is Harrow and Don John's relationship in Much Ado About Nothing.
The Guardian also stated that if this is a comedy, it is one that is alarmingly close to Othello. This is due to the fact that in Othello, Iago, the main antagonist in the play Othello, hates the title character and devises a plan to destroy him by making him believe that his wife is having an affair with his lieutenant, Michael Cassio, in the same way that Don John makes Claudio think that Hero is having an affair with another man. Also according to The Guardian, based in London, England, Much Ado might look like a safe piece of entertainment designed to cater to stag and hen parties alike, but under the surface it is a play in which men and women may kill and die at a moment's notice for someone else's notion of honor, whether sexual or social, and honor killings are hardly the stuff of rom-com. So this statement is essentially saying that although Much Ado About Nothing on the surface may seem like just another comedy where just some shenanigans happen and in the end everyone's happily ever after and everyone happens to get married, underneath this surface there are deeper themes of more standard and ancient notions of honor and more so the notions from tragedies from other plays of Shakespeare, such as Othello.
One portion of the love drama that I find interesting in the play, however, is the trickery that goes on to trick Beatrice into loving Benedict and Harrow into loving Claudio.
Analysis of Much Ado About Nothing was that it was a very unique experience compared with the other Shakespearean plays that we have read here at Sartell, such as Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth, and King Lear, and Hamlet. In the fact that, first off, Much Ado About Nothing is a comedy compared to our usual tragedies here at Sartell High School. Not saying that many tragedies happen at Sartell High School, I'm just explaining the Shakespeare plays. On the other hand, I especially enjoyed the plot of the play Much Ado About Nothing, and one scene that I especially liked was the scene that we performed during this videotaping. The explicit savagery between Benedict and Beatrice was something that I thought was very unique and not something that I had seen in other Shakespearean plays. And overall, I thought that Much Ado About Nothing was a wonderful play, and I thoroughly enjoyed reading the entirety of it.